Hello everyone and welcome back to a new video. This week we're going to look at how to determine what stands between you and your goal, or you and your target. So I'm going to first light a bit of incense and then we're going to go. So first thing before we get started, I will be using the Tea Maculis Lenormand as per usual. Also, this technique is it's built on the one I explained last week, I think, in the previous video, that I will put in the little eye somewhere there. So if you want to go and have a look, it's very similar. It is just a variation of that. So as I was saying, we are going to need a Lenormand, the Tea Maculis Lenormand in this case, and we're going to start by shuffling it a bit. So the first thing you need to know is, same as last time, you need to figure out your significator and you need to figure out how to read cards together. In this case, we're going to have a look at a contract for a male querent. So in this case, the contract will be what we're interested in is the partnership more than the actual contract paper. So we are going to look for the ring. You're going to see that there is a little bit of a difference here compared to last time. So for now it's the same thing. We shuffle, then we're going to turn it around. If you're used to cutting your deck, cut your deck. If not, don't. And we're going to look for the ring and the male consultant, so the gentleman. We can, set aside the cards that are either way of, on the right of the first card and on the left of the second one, just because we're only going to look at what stands between the two here. So those you can put together into a nice little stack. We're not going to look at it. Now, we have our two cards. There we go. What we're going to read are those four cards in the middle. Basically, it's what stands between the querent, the consultant, and the target, the goal. Before I interpret this, a couple of things. If you have your querent on the one hand of the stack and the target on the other hand, whichever way, it means it's not going to happen. It's not something that's in the cards for that person right now or in the near future. The near future with the Lenormand, or the future with the Lenormand, being usually what I would consider about 18 months, so a year and a half. So if it's either side, it's not going to happen. If most of the deck stands, most of the cards stand between the two cards, it's not going to happen either. It's very unlikely. However, here we only have four cards, so we're going to be able to interpret it. If the two cards were to be together, it's a yes, and it's a yes in a very immediate sense. So it's going to be very quick. It's going to happen very quickly, and it's very positive. Again, too many cards in between the two, not really a good sign. I tend to think that if you've got more than half of the deck between your two cards, it's not going to happen, basically. Or at least it's not going to happen as things are right now. So, a couple things before we read the cards. The man is going towards his goal. So it is him that's going to be have to do the heavy lifting and do the things. If we had the other things like the other way around, it's the contract moving towards the person. So in this scenario, your querent is very much passive. He has to be patient, wait for things to come to him. In this case, he is the one that's responsible for being active in the situation. So that's the thing. It's quite interesting when you've got, instead of a contract, for instance, when you've got money, the fish, because it means you pursuing a sum of money, so you hustling basically, and the other way around, it's a sum of money that you might not know of that's making its way to you. In this case, he's making his way towards the contract and the partnership. As I said last time, we're going to look at the cards, see how many negative and positive cards we have. Neutral, 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 positive. Overall, is my querent going to reach, get that partnership, yes, it's overall, it's positive. It's not all positive cards, so it's not like gonna be amazing and it's not gonna happen right away, but overall it's very positive. So we're gonna read A with B, B with C, C with D. A with B. So we've got something that has to do with people, being in public, an event, a networking event, maybe a party, something like that. And we've got this talk. This talk is two things, several things to be honest, but in this case, it can be a pregnancy, it can be being pregnant, working towards having children and things like that, building a family, but it is also the pregnancy of a project. So being in that moment, being in that process of building, creating something, a project that's gonna live on for a long time. So here we've got an event to do with a project, or something in public to do with a project. Here we can think maybe of a networking event, a situation where you meet with people, and that is in the context of a project. This is a long-term project. It's not a short-term thing. Then we've got a project, and we've got the birds. The bird is two things. It can be like gossip and rumors. It's also just talking, anything to do with talks and calls. So in this case, a project that's talked about, or that we are talking about, that we are exchanging about. The difference, if we were to inverse this two, would be that a call that is about a project, here it's a project you talk about, so the focus is not the same. Here the focus is the networking event or the event, and then the project kind of like inserts itself in there. Here the focus is going to be the project, not the call. The exchanges are nice, but what's important is what is added, like built onto the project. And then we've got a call, usually all discussions, that is very favorable, and that it's a happy thing, it's a favorable thing, it's a successful thing. Overall, how would I interpret this? If I had a consultant ask me, hey, I want to know what stands between me and that contract, that partnership, we're working, I want to work with that person or that company, and I would like to know what's going to happen and what stands in my way, basically. I would tell him that there will be an opportunity for him to maybe introduce the company or the person to a project, or expand on that project. A situation or an event that is not necessarily like focus on that, but I don't know, a company party or something where you talk about the project, maybe going for for lunch with someone and chatting about that. So the project is going to come up, and that's a good way to network and get people involved and get people excited. That project, you're going to talk about it a lot, and it's talking about it, it's presenting it, not in writing, but you showing how passionate you are with it, and explaining what it is. That's that experience of talking to each other, and live talks, not email exchanges. That's gonna lead to something positive. So overall, if you've got an opportunity to network with people, spend time with people that you want to work with, so either it's a partner, business partner, or it's a company you want to work with, if you've got an opportunity to see the people that you want to work with in person and talk about that project that you're passionate about, that is a sure way to get to that partnership. There we go. That's as simple as that. Obviously, you can make it a bit more complex if you were, like for instance, if you wanted to look, you can look, by the way, I didn't say, but you've got the cards in the middle, you've got the two, like the consultant and the significator, and you've got cards on each side. You can have a look at it. So that is what leads to the situation, and that's the future of the situation. You can. What I would go for, though, is probably I would do a second reading, just to focus on the situation and not on what stands in the way, basically. But that's me. We're going to do a second one, and this time we're going to look at a female consultant and she would like to know when she's going to get promoted at work. So promotion can be several things. You need to figure out your marker here. So does she want to get promoted for the status? So that would be maybe the tower. Does she want to be promoted for the money, the fish, or does she want to get promoted for the power because she wants to get into like a managerial position, for instance? We're going to go with the last one. So we're going to look at the bear. So the lady and the bear. Again, turn around and we're going to look for the lady and the bear. The bear is there. Now the lady is here. Oh, quite close. All right. So we have two cards, so it's quite close. If we're in a situation, it's not something that's like hypothetical in a far away future. We're talking about something that's gonna get there quickly. So in this case, we look at the cards. The stars, it's good fortune, it is destiny, it is good stuff usually. So it's positive. That's negative. So overall, it's it's cancelling out. Things are all cancelling each other out in terms of influences, which means it's neutral. Which would mean, if not reading the cards right now, just the value and the influence of them, I would tell my consultant, I would be like, hey, they're going to be good influences, bad influences. They're going to cancel each other out. If it was like planned that you would get a promotion, it's going to happen. But if you're counting on sheer luck to get ahead of everybody else, it's probably not going to happen. So things are going to happen how they were supposed to happen. If you're someone who is dedicated to your job, you're very efficient, and everybody was like, yeah, she's getting that promotion, nothing stands in your way. However, if you're like new in the company, nobody really knows you, they didn't have the time to size you out in terms of your capacity to work and manage team, that's probably not going to happen. Just in terms of the influences. Now, we're going to look at the cards. So, a negative one that's cancelled out by a positive one. So here we've got the notion of cutting things short. And something being like, it's in relationship, it's a breakup, so something not happening. In terms of work, that could be being fired or quitting on the spot, like a very strong reaction to something. But then it's a strong reaction that leads to something good. So it is, it's going to be like something quite violent, it's something quite rough, to be honest, rough. But it's going to be good in the end. So it's the thing to do. So basically, are you going to get that promotion? That's not certain. There are two options. You're going to be faced with something quite, again, rough. You have two options. You can either, I'm not going to say blackmail people, but be like, hey, if you're not giving me that promotion, I'm quitting. Or you might be told, hey, you're not getting that promotion because we're, for some reason, getting rid of that division that you want to manage, that kind of stuff. Either way, it's going to be good. Basically, your current position, the place you're at this point in the company, that's going to stop very, very quickly and abruptly. That's going to stop, but that's going to lead to very good opportunities. So if you quit or if you're fired, you're going to get that managerial position elsewhere. If, let's say, your division or your department is dissolved or it doesn't exist anymore, you're going to be moved to somewhere else with a change of status. So overall, are you going to get that promotion? Yes, but not in the way you're expecting. And it's going to be quite a roller coaster. You're going to feel like you're losing everything. But in the end, it's going to figure itself out very quickly. By the way, there are not many cards in there, which means it's going to happen very quickly. which means if you were to get fired or if you were to quit, you're going to rebound extremely quickly, just so we're clear. So let's say you're a consultant and you're like, hey, maybe what could be your situation is you want the promotion, and you've been looking for another job just in case they don't give you that promotion. What I would maybe advise you to do, quit the initial job, get the promotion in the other job. It's a much better deal. So there you go. So that is another way to read it. It's quite cool because right now what I've done is what stands between you and a contract or you and promotion. You can do that with money. What stands between you and money. You can do that with a document when you're expecting something in the mail. You can do that also with people, but that we're going to talk about later on, because it's like reading what stands between two people in a relationship. But you can definitely do that. It gives you a bit of it gives you a couple pieces of information, to be fair. You're going to have both what stands in your way. So is it positive, negative? Does it cancel? Do the cards cancel each other out in terms of influences? Is it going to be rough? How is the rhythm going to be? Because this method, you will be at some point when we discuss the, dating and timing process, how to date and time a reading. You can read, use the whole set, basically, of skills together. And you can be like, let's say, I don't know, I'm going to grab a bunch of cards in there. Let's say this is my consultant. I don't have a question, especially. I just want to... and let's say your goal is the heart, and we've got this in the middle. That's a bunch of cards. Maybe more than I would usually read, but let's go for this. If you want to look at just the rhythm, we've got something that's, these are energy flowing. So money is usually energy is flowing. Here you've got something stable you can rely on. This is something that is very stable, but that is also very slow moving. The key means that the slow movingness, just the door bursts open and things start moving faster. The cross is you're slowed down not by the circumstances, but how you feel the circumstances, how you view them. It feels like you're burdened by something. And then we've got the mountain, which is, it can be a hard stop depending on how it is, but it can also be just a challenge to overcome. In this case, because it's at the end, we've got nothing behind, it's kind of a hard stop depending on different things, but So you've got that rhythm. So we've got that, it's moving steadily. Oh, it's slowing down. It's still steady, but it's slowing down. Oh, things are moving faster, but I feel a bit burdened by something. And then hard stop. That gives you a bit of an idea of the rhythm. It gives you kind of an idea of how the roller coaster is going to hit you, in a way. And that is something that you will be able to do in the end when you use together the how to time and date and see how, in terms of time, things are going to happen. You put that together with the how to what stands between your querent or yourself and their goal, and then you've got a bit of an idea of how things are going to be. Is it going to be like something that's going to be slow and steady? Is it going to be something that's going to happen really, really fast? Is it going to be really, really slow and then everything goes extremely fast? That's a good way to know, and that's nice because you're prepared. Because usually when you do reading, and you're like, yeah, things are gonna look up and things are gonna happen very nicely. Like, yeah, cool. It's gonna be good in the end. But then you're like, it's taking a lot of time, and you get frustrated, and you might be, tempted to go for. At least I would be tempted to go for, kind of like abrupt decisions, and be like, you know what, never mind, I'm giving up on that. It goes nowhere. I will go with that other route. But then if I know that I just need to be patient for a bit, and then things are going to look up, I'm going to be a bit more chill about it. Anyways, I hope this makes sense. If you've got any questions, please let me know. I will be happy to get back to you. And hopefully this was useful. Have a lovely end of your day, and I'm gonna go back to melting because it's extremely hot today. Bye.